back I'm Gerty rude, back again in a Monday mood. Well, happy Monday wherever you are in the world. I thought we'd start with this. Pier Steer, whatever his bleed name is, this creature here. Sir Pier. I mean, since when has the all equal... I've been banging on about this for years. Yes, we're all socialists, we're all terribly equal, don't you know? We all are. Yes, we're equity, diversity, inclusion. Yes, no one is better than anybody else. And as I keep saying, I'm still waiting for my damehood and my knighthood. I am. Because if we're all equal, why haven't we all been made a lady or a lord or a dame? Some might argue I am a dame. I think I was born to be a dame. There's nothing quite like a dame, is there? Yeah, they made that song about me, didn't they? Was it Rodgers and Hammerstein? Yes, that's how far I go back. Further than Sir Pier Keir, and he goes back quite a long way, as we are all going to talk about and discuss Shioni. Here we have this bleeding creature. Oh, call me sir, even though I'm a bleeding socialist, and it, like all socialists, he's the most antisocial, unsociable person you could ever meet. Most of them always are. You've only got to think of that person, I was going to say shit for brains, that got himself around Germany in the 30s. Do you remember him? Well, he was a socialist. You've never seen anybody more bleeding antisocial and unsociable. There you go. Psychopathic, maybe. So this... Let's jump in and see what he's got to say, because he's got something to say. It's not salient. And he's making absolutely no point beyond his own four walls and what he talks about over the breakfast table. But somehow he's going to appeal. He's going to appeal to the country of which he is leader. And he's going to quarten all our ills. He is. All our fretting, all of those poor children that were raped, left, right and bleeding centre, right across the country, for nigh on 40 years, if not longer, it's all going to be okay, because Sir Pier Keir's here. Sir Pier Keir, come on Sir Pier Keir. He's just got back from Malibu, or wherever he was it Madeira? Nobody cares, right, let's go.
Exploitation.
Right?
Is utterly sickening.
Utterly sickening. Utterly.
And for many years,
right,
too many
decades.
victims have been completely let down.
Right, by you.
Let down by...
Excuse me. Who was the in charge of the prosecution service? Yes, Crown Prosecution Service director at the time was... Let me think. Oh, I've got it. I think it was you. Go on.
Ideas about community
and Jimmy
relations.
Savile.
Or by the idea that institutions...
That's why he got his sir, isn't it?
Sir
Pier Keir, yeah, have a sir.
And they've not been listened to, and they've not been heard.
They haven't been listened to, and they haven't been heard. And you do what you always do, you produce some LARPs, I've been banging on about it for years, live action role play people, there's no actual thing of them ever being a policeman or anything they said they were. Ever, even though you can look into it as much as you want, and all you find when you come up against a wall of hooky bullshit. And they mobilise this character onto social media. There are other ones to cover, like Bill Maloney and people like that, covered the mainstream media for Sky News, Fly News and all that old bullshit, and the papers. You go, oh, Bill Maloney, let mobilise him, let get over here, talk a load of schmack. Yeah, then you had another creature who I won't name, because he doesn't need any publicity. He's driven me mental for too long, this guy. About a decade now he's driven me mental. First time I ever saw him was on, you all know who I'm on about. Yeah, you do know. If you know me, you know who I'm on about, with Google Eyes. Talks so much smack. He's just beyond the pale creature. He's the same one that reckons that for our mental health, we should all just go jumping in ponds and rivers randomly. And then all of a sudden, even though he's got about 30 or 40,000 subs, all across the country, there's all these people jumping in rivers. And it weren't nothing to do with this moron. But anyway, there we go. I digest. So they mobilised this LARP. He's in child protection. And what he did, his backstory was, what happened was, I was in child protection. I was a child protection in London, something or other no one believes about ever. When you check all his backstories and all the hooky stuff he comes out with, it's just nonsense. He wasn't involved with them at all. He's inserted himself because he's a live action roleplay. Put up probably by people like this man here in his shirt sleeves. Back in 2012, when the Jimmy Savile thing, 2012? Yes, I'm sure it was. Summer 2012, 2013, when the Jimmy Savile thing broke. It might have been late summer, actually, to be perfectly honest, darlings. It was 2012. And so all of a sudden, on UK Column, you had this creature that came up that drives me mental. And he's, oh yeah, I'm ex-child protection, I am, yeah. What it was, she's so a bit mean to me. Basically, when you look into it, he never went to work, is his story. Something about Rosie and Jim, something about the Cray twins, and something about Jesus Army that no one believes or cares about. And, oh yeah, he's in child protection, he worked in London, he worked in every area, he was like Sven Hassel. If you're aware of the books by Sven Hassel, who did the Second World War books, when his character, his main protagonist in all his books, actually fought on every front, in every battle, in every war. Yes, there he was, even though there were two different battles going on at opposite ends of Europe. Sven Hassel's characters were always there. They were always there. Yes, the same character. Yes, well, I was just fighting, at the Battle of the Bulge. I couldn't help myself. Yes, I was at Ypres, or whatever, yeah? So, this character, this person, I don't want to say his name, he had the similar backstory. He was everywhere all at once, rather wonderful. He was, He was marvellous. And he worked in child protection in London for the Met, He did something about the Albanians and Romanians and something else that nobody believes. And a hooky load of old crap. Got himself involved with that Brian Harvey from Year East 17. Drove him up the bloody wall and mental with his hooky old nonsense, yeah? Then, oh yeah, well, I left the police because they were mean to me. And when he retired and he got his pension safely under his belt, is his story that he wants us to buy into. Then he started whistleblowing. And what they was trying to do was actually put some shade onto Maggie Oliver. But it never worked because her character is she's like the Angel Gabriel. There's nothing that's going to besmirch that lady, okay? But that's what he was trying to do. And even other police whistleblowers turned their back on him and didn't want anything to do with him because he's hooky as S-H-I-T. Really very hooky. And his raison d'etre, my darlings, was to get himself around the place where he had no business to be, talking at this child abuse investigation thing. He had no reason to be there, no point to make at all, but took up bloody weeks. Yabbering on about, well, I was in the police force and they were mean to me and I didn't roll my trouser leg up, so I weren't in the gang, so something or other that no one believes or cares about. But and that's only one that I know. There's probably quite a few LARPs out there. Live action roleplay, darling, look into it. It does happen. And they're foisted on us, several mediums, whether it's mainstream media or social media. They were galvanised particularly onto social media because social media was where the actual stories was being spoken about openly rather than ignored by the mainstream media. So yeah, this LARP came along and his raison d'etre was to remind everybody at every twist and every turn, despite the fact that he worked in child protection allegedly, which was just hooey, that these children were in fact prostitutes, you see. Yes, something along the lines that rhymes with destitute but begins with prostitute. Yeah? And so it was a child multitude all the time. Child prostitution. No such thing existed. And God, did I ever used to scream at my TV, whatever device I was watching that gormless bloody twonk on. Even other people were like, no such person exists. Yeah, you are put out here to put that into the public zeitgeist, so we all think that these children, oh well, that 9-year-old, she was making a lifestyle choice, she was. Yeah, she's earning herself a couple of quid, she can go and get herself some dolly mixtures. This is what these reprehensibly vile people do. Out of it came, it was all arboreal, wasn't it? Was it Utri? Yes, and Andrew Ash, and Utri, and all this. It was just nonsense. Live action roleplay to obfuscate the issue, sweep it under the carpet, make it seem like nothing really was going on, and it's just a load of people making stuff up. Well, this creature was in charge of it. So, anyway, I'm sorry that I butted in. Do go on. I'm agog.
And when I was chief prosecutor for 5 years...
Chief summit tutor.
I tackled that head on.
No, you didn't.
Because I could see what was happening.
No, you didn't.
And that's why I reopened cases that had been closed.
Bullshit.
Supposedly finished.
When?
I brought the first major prosecution of an Asian grooming gang. In the particular case, it was in Rochdale, but it was the first of its kind. There were many that then followed that format.
I'm just expecting his nose to start growing at any moment. I have never heard such a lot of old bleeding hooey in my entire life, and believe you me, I've heard some hooey. Go on.
I changed the whole prosecution approach.
No, you didn't.
because I wanted to challenge and did challenge the myths and stereotypes that were stopping those victims being heard. So we changed the entire approach.
Bull crap. How dare you even say that? You sent the victims away and told them they were stupid little girls a lot of the time. And I think one of the chief constables, if not one of the prosecution people, was heard to say that these girls had no life anyway and no reason to have been born. Yes, because you see, they were trash. Yes, I think they were called something to do with meat that I'm not going to repeat. Children. These were all children. We've been going on about it for years. I mean, not as vociferously as some people that are now in prison for vociferously standing their ground and speaking their truth to power. And now you've got all the talking heads. Here, listen, this is another thing while I've got you guys here. Yeah, they're going on about, oh dear, yeah, Mr. Robinson, no, I don't care about him politically one way or the other. Okay, I admire his balls, and even if you don't agree with his politics, you've got to admire the guy's balls. He's like Shaka Bleeding Zulu, this character, isn't he? He really is, yeah? All these lot, they loved Nelson Mandela, didn't they? Oh, they loved me a bit of Nelson. They loved me a bit of Nelson Mandela. Oh, yeah, they're all there dancing at Nelson Mandela concert. Weren't they all? Oh, yeah. Didn't say nothing about 27 years in prison he was. And they think, oh, he was just a political prisoner. Look into him. Look into that man that's gone down as an icon of peace and a Marxist. Say no more. Yeah. Oh, yeah. People want what the people get. Isn't that true? Is that, did Paul Weller say that? Yes. So we'll give you the hero and we'll tell you when to praise them. If you look into his background, I can't remember Tommy Robinson unaliving anybody. Nelson Mandela, however, unalived quite a few bleeding people. Yes! Oh, yeah. Oh, redemption for him, though. Redemption song for him. You can hear Bob Marley singing it. Redemption song. Yeah. These songs of freedom is all I ever was. Or some BS. But no, not when it's a white. Supposedly he's not working class, but let's pretend he is, right? Supposedly a white working class man. No redemption. No redemption for him. No redemption ever for him for speaking up for a load of children that were being raped. Yes, that's what I've got to say on the subject, but do go on.
Not without criticism at the time, I might add.
Oh, God.
And when I left office,
yes,
we had the highest number of child sexual abuse cases being prosecuted on record.
No.
Now, that record...
You shut the people up. And you mobilise people in that age range, so people that are abused within institutions and by varying gangs, say... in the 70s and 80s, yeah, you had different people that you sent out, different people to be their mouthpieces. So the real victims never got heard because you put this melt on that inquiry, and he was one of quite a few melts that I sat there and wondered what they were doing. Why were they there? What point were they there? What kudos did they have? What criteria did they fill? Apart from just being a mouthpiece, really, for these people, for the elite, to keep a lid on it, keep us remembering that it was a lifestyle choice, and this goes on, and girls do actually, 9 and 10, or even younger, they do actually choose to go out and behave like that, and it is in no way the perpetrators. No, it's the girls, you see, don't talk about the perpetrators, it's the children. When in this country, nobody under the age of 16 can make an informed choice on that level, and anybody that is seen to have actually done anything like that with somebody under 16 is seen to be the R word. It doesn't matter what they say about the child can't make an informed choice. That is the law, and that's the law for everybody, not just special people, not just the elite, because don't forget Labour, they have to rely on quite a lot of votes from people that may or may not have been originally born in this country. Let's just say that.
Is not secret.
Right.
As a public servant, it's there for all of you or everybody to see.
Bullshit.
I also call for mandatory reporting of child sexual abuse.
Oh.
I called for that a decade.
Yeah, you called for that. That was already in place into the Children Act, okay? It was like, when was that Children Act? 1990, 1991, can't remember. 1989 Children Act, wasn't it? Yeah, no mandatory reporting was going on. If anything, you lot were complicit in shutting it down. So, we haven't got enough evidence. I don't even want to say some of the words that I've heard, to do with embryos and having more than enough evidence to prosecute these people, and you still didn't do anything. Just put a lid on it, kicked the can down the road, waited out for your knighthood, and got yourself, well, in all the right clubs, in all the right places, with all the right people, and sod the little children, who you take money in your job as chief prosecution of the prosecution service, yeah, and you didn't do your job. And on the back of that, you got a knighthood. Well, we all knew you got a knighthood for... It looked like a failure, but when you looked at it from another angle, from another point of view, you got that knighthood for success, didn't you, darling? Yes, you did. And with that, over and out. I've had enough of you. Go away, you wretched little man. Love you and leave you wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye now.